And we've got some breaking news. I wanted to quickly update you on the lone survivor of yesterday's helicopter tragedy. Group Captain Varun Singh has been shifted from Wellington to Bengaluru. The officer who has suffered 50% burn injuries and was on board to escort General Rawat from Sulur to Wellington has been on life support since yesterday's tragedy. He is the sole survivor, and these are images of Group Captain Varun Singh arriving at the Air Force Command Hospital in Bengaluru for further treatment. He's been fighting for his life. He's been critical but stable, and now he is in Bengaluru for further treatment. A nation is praying for the speedy and full recovery of Group Captain Varun Singh, Shaurya Chakra. Live with me for more on this, Abhishek. Group Captain Varun Singh, the brave officer who survived the crash, has been shifted to Bengaluru. We've got images of him arriving at the Bengaluru Air Force Command Hospital.
Well, Shiv, everybody's praying for him that, somehow he can make it. But the situation remains quite critical. That's what we've been hearing, and that's the reason why he had to be shifted from the military hospital in Wellington to the command hospital in Bengaluru. And he is undergoing, very, very intense medical treatment. He has more than 50% burns on his body. So he still remains critical, but what people have told us that otherwise he's been stable. He's been on life support. And hopefully, fingers crossed, prayers for him all across the country, that at least he can be the lone survivor in that ill-fated crash. And perhaps at some point he will be able to tell the tale what exactly happened.
I think he's critical. He's been on life support since yesterday when he was pulled, miraculously alive from the wreckage. What are doctors saying? He's been critical but stable. They obviously needed to move him to a better equipped hospital, and that's what they've managed to do now.
Yes, and that's the reason why they did not waste any time. There were no further delays in ensuring that he reaches Bengaluru as early as possible. He was at the base hospital since the crash, and once the mortal remains also moved from here, he was also first taken by road till Sulur, and then from there he was airlifted. He is in safe hands. So there are two things, Shiv. At one point of time, everybody is praying that the group captain survives and he gets out of this. And the other significant aspect is the investigation that is underway. I have been close to the crash site for over 2 hours now, and there have been various teams. There was a drone team of the Tamil Nadu police that was there. They have done the mapping of the area, and other than that, the tri-service team has also arrived to look into all aspects of the air crash. So we can tell you that senior officers of the Air Force and the Army, I saw them go up to the crash site. One of them was an Air Marshal. I cannot confirm whether it was Air Marshal Manvindra Singh or not, but it was an Air Marshal, a 3-star officer, because I saw the car move up. The face was covered with a mask, so it was difficult to recognize him. But the team is there even now as we speak. So one can only hope that as early as possible we have some clarity on what exactly happened. It's going to be a long process. Data needs to be retrieved, data needs to be studied. All of that might take time, but we all hope that we get a clear picture of what really went wrong.
And we're all praying for his full recovery. He's a brave pilot, Abhishek. He received the Shaurya Chakra earlier this year for a mid-air emergency in a fighter jet, an event that happened in October last year. He received that Shaurya Chakra this year, 12 months later, fighting for his life on ventilator support, now at the Air Force Command Hospital. Of course, he's not conscious at this point of time, but when he gains consciousness and when he recovers, and we're all praying for that, he will also be a key element in the crash investigation. He survived, something that 13 other people perished in, Abhishek. So he will be key to, what really happened in the air.
Definitely, Shiv, if he is able to recall exactly what happened, he will be a very, very crucial factor in the investigation. And, his situation remains critical. That's what we've been told time and again. But fingers crossed, everybody is hoping that this ill-fated helicopter can have at least one survivor. And, the group captain, as we know, Varun Singh, is a brave heart, a Shaurya Chakra, as you mentioned. So he's a fighter. And God willing, he will come out of it, Shiv. All of us praying for him.
And I know that all of our viewers are praying for Group Captain Varun Singh. He's, his name is on everyone's lips, those who have faith today, because he is a brave officer who has miraculously survived this crash, but his condition is not good. He's critical, he's on life support. He's now been moved to one of the country's best military hospitals, the Air Force Command Hospital, and we will continue to update you on his health. We're expecting the Air Force to give us an update in a short while from now. These are images that we're getting to you from the Wellington, where the wreath-laying ceremony took place earlier today. Children who've been lining the streets from Wellington to Sulur, where the convoy arrived with the bodies. And on the right side of your screen is the Palam Air Force Base in Delhi, where preparations are being made to receive the mortal remains of the 13 braves, General Bipin Rawat, his wife Madhulika Rawat, and the 11 other braves who lost their lives in this horrifying, unspeakably tragic crash of their helicopter yesterday in Coonoor, in Tamil Nadu. So we have reporters in all of these locations, and we will be bringing you every aspect of this final journey. Mohit, my colleague, is with me live from outside the Palam Air Force Base. He will be inside once the bodies arrive. Mohit, the Prime Minister, we are told, will be making an appearance this evening once the bodies arrive to pay tribute. The Defence Minister and other dignitaries will also be there. This is going to be an extensive start to the multi-day Shraddhanjali for India's topmost military officer and those who gave their lives with him.
Well, absolutely, Shiv. This is something that we've been telling our viewers, for quite a while now, that it is expected that senior dignitaries would be here, and now there seems to be, certain confirmation also coming in from various sources that it is likely that the Prime Minister himself could be making way here at the visible from his tweets as well, in which he had said that he not only played a very important role in ensuring at various strategic situations, but more importantly he was very an integral part of the entire force system, and that's something that was very much visible as well. And today, when the Raksha Mantri was speaking in both the houses, you could very clearly sense that that emotional factor also come in from the voice of the Raksha Mantri as well. So what we are learning right now is that both the Prime Minister as well as the Raksha Mantri could be making their way once the mortal remains actually arrive here at the Palam Technical Airport, and this the mortal remains.
In just a moment. We'll come back to you, Mohit. We've just lost that audio with you. We'll come back to you. There are obviously going to be jammers around the Palam Air Base, but we'll deal with that. We'll bring you live coverage of that. India is mourning the death of its top military officer, General Bipin Rawat, his wife Madhulika Rawat, and 11 others who died in yesterday's military chopper crash. Images of citizens in an outpouring of spontaneous grief have been captured in different parts of the country, and in no place more than in Tamil Nadu, where this accident took place. Take a look at these pictures of locals in grief, children with tirangas, flowers being showered, petals being showered on the ambulances, carrying the mortal remains of the Chief of Defence Staff, his wife and the other personnel, on its way from Wellington to the Sulur Air Base. That's when this happened. People in large numbers, this was a short while ago, thronged the Sulur airport to pay their last respects to India's bravehearts. People were also heard chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai, children waving the flags to pay their last respects to India's first Chief of Defence Staff. From the Sulur Air Base, the mortal remains took off at 4 p.m. in an Indian Air Force C-130J aircraft and are mid-flight right now in that aircraft, will be landing shortly after 7 p.m. The cremation of General Rawat and his wife will take place in Delhi cantonment on Friday, and the public will be allowed to pay their last respects from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at his residence. It will of course be a controlled event. Earlier, a wreath-laying ceremony took place at the Madras Regimental Centre in Tamil Nadu's Wellington, where Chief Minister of the state, M.K. Stalin, paid tribute to General Rawat and the 12 others who lost their lives. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has also briefed both houses of parliament and paid his tribute. He revealed the sequence of events that led to the tragic death of India's top military officer and 12 others.
जनरल बिपिन रावत डिफेंस सर्विसेज स्टाफ कॉलेज वेलिंगटन के स्टूडेंट ऑफिसर से इंटरेक्ट करने के लिए अपने एक शेड्यूल्ड विजिट पर थे। एयरफोर्स के Mi-17V5 हेलीकॉप्टर ने कल 11:48 पर सुलूर एयरबेस से अपनी उड़ान भरी, जिसे 12:15 पर वेलिंगटन में लैंड करना था। सुलूर एयरबेस के एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोल ने लगभग 12:08 पर हेलीकॉप्टर से अपना कांटेक्ट खो दिया। बाद में कूनूर के पास जंगल में कुछ स्थानीय लोगों ने आग लगी हुई देखी। जब वे भागकर उस स्थान पर पहुंचे तो उन्होंने मिलिट्री हेलीकॉप्टर के अवशेष को आग की लपटों से घिरा हुआ देखा।
Is in a state of mourning right now after the death of Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and 12 others. The country has paid its tributes to all of the bravehearts. Here's more about the other 11 military personnel who lost their lives. We've been telling you about the Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat and his wife, but who were the other 11 who also lost their lives? We tell you.
उस हेलीकॉप्टर में सवार कुल 14 लोगों में से 13 लोगों की मृत्यु हो गई। आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के अन्य 9 लोग शामिल हैं। उनके नाम हैं विंग कमांडर पृथ्वी सिंह चौहान, स्क्वाड्रन लीडर कुलदीप सिंह, जूनियर वारंट ऑफिसर राणा प्रताप दास, जूनियर वारंट ऑफिसर अरक्कल प्रदीप, हरविंदर सतपाल राय, नायक गुरसेवक सिंह, नायक जितेंद्र कुमार, लांस नायक विवेक कुमार, लांस नायक बी साई तेजा।
From the topmost military officer to armed forces jawans, India mourns the deaths in the Nilgiris chopper crash. A decorated soldier, caring husband and doting father, brightest and bravest of the officers, words that describe Brigadier Lakhbinder Singh Liddar, military advisor to Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. The brigadier is survived by his wife Geetika, a school teacher, and a 16-year-old daughter.
32 साल से इकट्ठे रह रहे हैं। उसकी जो पर्सनालिटी थी हंसमुख, मिलनसार और बहुत ही अच्छे नेचर का था।
Lieutenant Colonel Harjinder Singh belonged to the 11 Gorkha Rifles, the same regiment as General Bipin Rawat. His missions included one at the Siachen Glacier and another on a UN peacekeeping mission. Wing Commander Prithvi Singh Chauhan was the pilot flying the helicopter that crashed. The 42-year-old from Agra was posted at the Indian Air Force Station in Sulur, where he was commanding officer of the 109 helicopter unit. Wing Commander Chauhan is survived by his wife Kamini, a 12-year-old daughter and a 9-year-old son.
यादें तो कभी मिट नहीं सकती, क्योंकि उन्होंने इस तरह से उनका नेचर और जिस तरह से उनका मेहनती और वो सारी चीज़ें थी उनके अंदर, जो क्वालिटियाँ थी, वो याद ही करने लायक थी। आप बताएं।
Squadron leader Kuldeep Singh was the co-pilot of the Mi-17 that crashed. His father is a former Navy officer. His family currently lives in Jaipur. Kuldeep Singh had gotten married just 2 years ago.
आज पूरे गांव में शोक की लहर है। कुलदीप राव का व्यक्तित्व बहुत ही शानदार व्यक्तित्व था। एक ईमानदार, कर्तव्यनिष्ठ और समाज सेवी के रूप में उनकी अलग से पहचान थी। भाई कुलदीप राव की शहादत को हम सैल्यूट करते हैं। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Rana Pratap Das was a junior warrant officer and a native of Talcher in Angul district of Odisha. Rana had completed 12 years in service and was posted in Delhi, where he lived with his wife and son. Arakkal Pradeep, a junior warrant officer, joined the Air Force in 2002 as a weapon fitter and was later selected as part of the air crew. A veteran of anti-Naxal operations in Chhattisgarh and flood rescue missions in Uttarakhand and Kerala, Pradeep was posted at the Sulur Air Force Station. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. Havildar Satpal Rai was the personal security officer of General Bipin Rawat. He was from Darjeeling. Naik Gursevak Singh was a member of Bipin Rawat's security squad. A resident of Punjab's Taran Taran, Gursevak was posted in the 9 Para Special Forces unit of the army. Lance Naik Vivek Kumar was the principal staff officer of General Bipin Rawat from Himachal's Kangra. Vivek was in the J&K Rifles and also served in a para-commando unit, engaged in VIP security. Married only last year, he is survived by his wife and a 6-month-old son. Lance Naik B. Sai Teja was a personal security officer of General Rawat, a prestigious posting that he got just 7 months ago. From Andhra's Chittur, Teja had joined the Indian Army in 2012. He is survived by his parents, wife and 2 children, a 3-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. The family says Lance Naik Sai Teja last spoke to his wife on Wednesday, moments before boarding the helicopter with Chief of Defence Staff Rawat. Naik Jitendra Kumar was from Dhamanda village in Madhya Pradesh. He had completed 8 years in the army and is survived by his wife, a 4-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old son. These men lost their lives in the line of duty, but will continue to live in the collective memory of a grateful and grieving nation. Bureau Report, India Today. And we're returning to the breaking update story that we're getting to you on the lone survivor of the ill-fated Mi-17 helicopter crash yesterday, Group Captain Varun Singh, who has been shifted to Bengaluru's Air Force Command Hospital from Wellington for further treatment. We have images now of him being moved from the Sulur Air Base and arriving at the Air Force Command Hospital. These are images, the ones on your screen right now, are of him being escorted into that Indian Air Force AN-32 aircraft, which has just made the short flight from Wellington, from Sulur Air Base, I beg your pardon, in Coimbatore to Bangalore. It's a very brief flight, and this aircraft has landed there, and the Air Force officer, who is the lone survivor of this crash, has been taken to the Air Force Command Hospital, where he's been admitted. He's on life support. He's critical but stable, and prayers are coming in. So I just wanted to point you to that image. That's an AN-32 aircraft of the Indian Air Force, into which Group Captain Varun Singh was taken, that flew him to Bengaluru. He is the sole survivor of yesterday's crash. It's a miracle in itself, and that's why there are so many prayers for Group Captain Varun Singh. Not many people know that Group Captain Varun was a recipient of the Shaurya Chakra just 12 months ago for a terrifying mid-air emergency. He's a fighter pilot. Here's what happened. He was pulled out of the wreckage of the Mi-17 V5 helicopter alive. Group Captain Varun Singh, Shaurya Chakra, the lone survivor of the horrific tragedy. He was breathing but had severe burn injuries and was rushed to the military hospital in Wellington by emergency services. Group Captain Varun, directing staff at the Defence Services Staff College in Wellington, was escorting the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, and his entourage to the Staff College where he was to deliver a lecture. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in Parliament on Thursday gave details of Group Captain Varun's condition.
क्रैश साइट से सर्वाइवर्स को रिकवर करने का भी प्रयास किया। उस अवशेष से जितने भी लोगों को निकाला जा सका उन सबको यथाशीघ्र वेलिंगटन के मिलिट्री हॉस्पिटल पहुंचाया गया। कुल 14 लोगों में से 13 लोगों की मृत्यु हो गई। ग्रुप कैप्टन वरुण सिंह वेलिंगटन के मिलिट्री हॉस्पिटल में लाइफ सपोर्ट पर हैं और उन्हें बचाने के हर संभव प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं।
Group Captain Varun is a true survivor. He was awarded the nation's third highest gallantry award, the Shaurya Chakra, for his amazing grit, determination and valor. In October 2020, then Wing Commander Varun was test flying a Tejas light combat aircraft on a test sortie. With deft handling of the aircraft, despite the fighter plane pitching wildly, he brought it under control, choosing not to eject, but to land the aircraft, putting his life at grave risk, but saving a valuable national asset and lives on the ground. Group Captain Varun Singh, a fighter pilot, a role model for many, was posted to the Staff College to motivate future commanders. Group Captain Varun is a second-generation officer hailing from Uttar Pradesh. 1 billion prayers are now on for his speedy and complete recovery. Bureau Report, India Today.